My name is Chike Akua. I'm the president and CEO of Imani Enterprises and the executive director of the Teacher Transformation Institute.
Okay. Now, can you tell me a little bit about the purpose of your presentation today?
The purpose of my presentation was to show educators how to infuse African and African American history and culture into the curriculum. One of the challenges that a lot of teachers face is that they realize with increasing diversity that there's a need to make sure that all that information is presented, but in many of the schools of education, they have not been taught these things. In addition, because there's so much emphasis on other things, they find it difficult to infuse this important and critical cultural information. And so one of the things that we want to do is we want to give them the tools to show them how to do that to reach their children, because what we find is that student achievement increases dramatically when students are taught based on the best of their culture.
Okay. Now, how important was it for you to participate in this task force?
It was critically important because I taught in Virginia and in Georgia public schools. I'm a former teacher of the year. I still teach in Georgia. However, there was no law for me to stand on when I just took it upon myself because I saw what my students needed. And sometimes that wasn't always very well received by administration. So when I found out that there was actually a law in Florida that mandated that the African and African American contribution to every subject is supposed to be taught, K through 12, it blew me away. So much so that it is actually the subject of my doctoral dissertation.
All right, now what school do you teach at in Georgia?
I teach at Saba Academy, which is a school that my wife founded 3 years ago.
Okay, and does it cater what grades?
It deals with grades 1 through 5.
Okay. Now, is there anything in particular that you wanted the participants to take away from your presentation?
I wanted them to understand that there is a whole narrative that has been kept from them about the power of African and African American history. Oftentimes, one of the biggest challenges that we face is that the few times that Black history is dealt with, they start the story in slavery, leaving out thousands and thousands of years of incredible and critical information that would help people to understand why slavery even took place. And so when they leave that out, Black children and all children leave the classroom not understanding that there was a time when African people led the world in literary production, scientific innovation, and wealth creation. So they don't have a conscious connection with that narrative because that narrative has been suppressed, and there's even been attempts to erase it. And that's why we have to understand this information and then learn how to teach it to our young people so that they know who they are and who they came from.
All right. Now, is there anything else that you would like to add that I didn't touch on?
The last thing I like to add is that educational research shows that culture is the key. It's the critical mediating factor in increasing student achievement for Black students and students of color. So it's not that we don't know how to reach them. It's that that information has been intentionally suppressed because there's some people who benefit economically when our children fail, which tells me that there's another agenda at hand when we look at the school to prison pipeline and other factors that lead our children to fail. It is not because they're incapable, it's not because they're unintelligent, it is because there is another agenda at hand. But for those conscious and committed educators of all ethnicities who want to reach and teach the students, there is a way to do that, and we have the research to back it up.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.